What's up? What's good? What's good? Today is February 14th, 2024, Valentine's Day. And the spirit of love is in the air, but there's other things that's in the air today. Green candles are in the air. Excitement is in the air. Some altcoin pumps in the air. Ethereum saying Bitcoin hold my beer is in the air. We have some things upon us. 52K Bitcoin. I want to say we actually touched $2,800 Ethereum, and lots of other things going on. So embrace the volatility, embrace the bull market. This is the beginnings of something that is going to be a very massive move. And what else is in the air currently? Honestly, this is what wealth transfer looks like. So the people that have been, basically plotting, doing what they needed to do, scheming things up, basically getting in the game is what I call it, aka DCA. The wealth transfer is going to start to happen to you. And as you start to see those unrealized gains just trickle up higher and higher and higher, like the multiples go crazy, it's definitely a very, very good feeling. But in the same way, we've got to temper those emotions. But this is an exciting time, y'all. The reason why I do these streams is to inform people on the process of how cycles work. Now, not every cycle is the same, and I'm not going to say, I'm going to sit here and say, hey, this is going to happen next week. It's very hard to do short-term predictions, but if you understand some of the core foundations, some of the core basics of just how things work in general with the monetary system, with interest rates, with the way that people see crypto as an asset, the way that ETF flows are coming in, the things that people do when they make money in certain coins, and then they like to move them over to other things that might be a little bit more risky. Understanding some things within the stock market, understanding liquidity flows, understanding on-chain data. We talk about all that stuff here on the channel, and so I appreciate y'all for coming through, man. This has been an incredible journey. Since I've been doing this channel, a lot of y'all that have been rocking with me y'all have been able to be the beneficiaries of, buying stuff at a cheap price. We were talking in the vaults earlier. Somebody saying, man, those $900 Ethereum buys are looking very tasty. And people wish that they could get Ethereum back at $900 again. But guess what? Unfortunately, that's looking to be increasingly less likely as price goes higher. The chances of us even getting back to $1,000 Ethereum might be slim to none. Just like it's going to be very, very basic. I'm not gonna say impossible, but very, very hard, dang near impossible for us to ever get back to $100 Ethereum. And so this is the way it works when you have the wealth that gets transferred to the long-term holders. They buy when everyone wants to capitulate, and guess what? They hold and hold and hold, and they don't fray. And so if price dips lower, they buy more. So therefore, you protect certain prices after a while. So that's how that works. So yeah, congratulations to everybody that's been participating in this market. If you're still on the sidelines, hey, why not join in? Now is still a relatively good time in the long run. You're not buying any types of tops because we're just getting the engine going. Bitcoin isn't at its all-time high, but there's a word that I want to put on the end of that, and it says, and what I'm going to say is yet. As we can see, and I'll kind of detail some of these statistics, right? Bitcoin popping up above 50K. This is an area where we haven't spent much time. So essentially, there's only been, of all Bitcoin's history, so we're talking about like 15 years of Bitcoin price, there's only really been 4 months out of 15 years where Bitcoin has been higher than 50K. And so what is this? This really is very low liquidity to almost price discovery. And what happens is, and I'll kind of explain like this. So what happens is when people bought higher than 50K previously, those people have pretty much capitulated out. So they've taken their realized loss at a lower cost basis. Now those Bitcoin got transferred to long-term holders. And then so basically when it comes to looking at like the net holder position from people that are actually holding Bitcoin currently right here at 50K, all of these guys pretty much are in profit. And there's very few people that are not in profit holding Bitcoin currently. And so what happens is once we get to all-time highs, then they start to distribute out to the new retail, the new holders, and then the FOMO comes, and then we go and hit 70K, 80K, whatever, right? But these cycles are a big, I would say, a big money movement circle. And if you can understand the money movement flow and circle from coins going to people that understand how the game works to going to coins, or the coins going to people that are just kind of just testing things out or just not getting in the game, these cycles are very cyclical in that nature. And then price is going to follow the dynamics of the way that humans interact with whatever asset. And so what are we seeing? We're seeing a lot of interest. But here's the thing: I keep saying, understand why prices go up so quickly. Retail, believe it or not, is still not here. And so we ain't seen nothing yet. Like these candles that we're getting, they're moderate. They're not these large, I'm talking about like crazy candles. They're nice and moderate. They're not small, but they're moderate. And so the ETF is, believe it or not, and there's some dynamics to the ETF being a thing, with these institutions basically taking more control because they're gaining more of the Bitcoin, which that's a whole nother conversation on centralization. But for most people, the main factor is, hey, am I gaining value? Am I gaining wealth or not? And so, by ever which means that may happen, whether it's institutions mainly buying or whether it's mainly retail buying, people are going to be excited about that. And so, even real crypto is doing good. The post-chain ecosystem is flourishing. And same thing, it's just getting started. So you got to ask yourself, where am I going to be at in the queue? Am I going to wait a whole another month? Am I going to wait a whole another year before I start to take something serious? Hey, why don't you DCA while you learn? That's always a good way. So let's get into it. We have some things that we'll talk about today, and I was going to do a deep dive into quite a few coins, but one thing that I realized is my deep dive is probably a lot more thorough than maybe what people are used to. That's the type of situation where I can't get 5 coins done in a matter of an hour and a half. Like that's like an 8-hour stream, and I don't know if we have the time to be on here for 8 hours. So I think what I'll do is I think the way I'm going to move about that, because I want to potentially do something every week in terms of some type of research, because there's a lot of people that talk about price and this event happening and blah blah blah, but I want to be a channel known for real research and transparent research, and then let that display itself and you guys decide from there. But the way I think I'm gonna do it, I'm gonna start doing polls here on YouTube once a week, and I think I'm getting some good feedback. There's some common coins that people are talking about. I'll give a list of like 4 or 5, and then whichever one gets the most votes, then I'll do the deep dive on that one. And so I think that's gonna be a better way of going about it, because I don't want to just halfway do it. I don't just want to spend like 10-20 minutes on a coin. I really want to give it its just due, because that's what it takes to really feel comfortable and understand what you're even getting into. So you got some hours on this stuff. It's very hard to make a decision off of 10-20 minutes. So that being said, what we got, let's actually pull up the chart for Ethereum. But in the meantime, let's also read some comments. So let's see. Yo, what it do? Nice to see you, bro. And we got Wade in the chat. Life is good, man, and life should always be good. If you just keep a positive perspective, whatever is going, if prices are going down, all right, life's still good. If prices are going up, life is even better. So life should always be good. I appreciate the comment for sure. ETH need to chill? No, it don't. It needs to keep doing what it's doing, right? And that's coming from a person that holds a lot of ETH. And so, yeah, I want ETH to keep going, because believe it or not, ETH is a big proxy for a lot of the other things within crypto. So if you're trying to basically do well in this game, you want to cheer on ETH. You want to give a little clap. So Ethereum's doing decent today. So we'll talk about that. What we got? Will the Tooth Fairy visit me tonight and leave 54K BTC for me in the morning? You know what? I'm not going to say yes or no to that, because something very similar happened just literally a day or so ago, where I'm just like, oh, okay, cool. Done for the day, done working. I'm ready to go to sleep, get my rest. And then out of nowhere, I'm looking at the chart and I'm like, okay, BTC about 40K, 45K, somewhere in there, like 45, 46K. I'm like, okay. And then out of nowhere, oh, snap, 48, 49K? Oh, snap. Okay, whatever, 49K, go to sleep. Oh, snap, we're at 52. So, like, every couple of days, it's like, you don't even know what's going to happen. Like, BTC has a mind of its own right now, and just due to a lot of these inflows, right? So, one thing I'm going to show you guys later on is that BTC is incredibly in demand, even versus gold, and you're actually seeing those results, that people that potentially may go into gold during this time, during this economic period, they're actually choosing Bitcoin. And then so this is something that a lot of people had thought, but we're actually seeing it in real time, in real terms. So what's good, Art? What's good, everyone? I need a dip ASAP so I can get my DCA in. Hey, we may not get it. I guess we're going to find out. So, oh yeah, 100%. Buy more, man. If you have it in your gut, just do what your gut is telling you, man. And sometimes you can't wait. When your gut is talking to you in the moment, you just gotta take action. That's That's the only way something's gonna buy itself. Like something's not gonna buy itself. We all gotta take that action. So hopefully, you do well with that decision. So let's see if we can jump on in real quick, man. I really like to. You already know I'm zooming out, so we're gonna zoom all the way out. So we'll look at Ethereum, and we're gonna look at this long-term basis, monthly chart. And the biggest thing with that is, as a lot of things in crypto, it starts off as pennies, then goes to dollars, then goes to hundreds of dollars, has a bear market, and we talked about the crypto seasons last stream. So if you guys are like, hey, what does the winter time look like in crypto? What does autumn look like? What does summer look like? So we're currently in summer. And the biggest thing is, after every winter, after every bear market, we have an accumulation range, and then we start to get momentum. And then so kind of it's so interesting, because I'm kind of looking at this. When we have that sideways action and we get those momentum, like I said, we have those moderate candles, but there's a point in time. There's a point in time when the candles go from moderate to saying, yo, like my position, like for example, my Ethereum position just literally doubled in this month. Like we have 100% candles. Like for example, if we trek back, we'll go back to we'll go back to what 2017, and there's candles that are literally like, oh snap, this thing goes up 240% in 1 month. Or I mean, not even too long ago, there's a point in time, November 2020, when Ethereum went up. I mean, look at that, 76% in 1 month. And so there's nothing on this earth. I've looked at assets for years. I've been an investor for years. Nothing on this earth that can do anything like that with that type of volatility in 1 month. So this stuff is all about positioning, y'all. If you're not positioned, because think about it, if you're not positioned before that candle, you cannot receive that benefit. And so the positioning is, hey, get in on these candles while they're kind of moderate to small, because once we start to get larger candles, they tend to replicate themselves. So large candle after large candle after large candle after large candle. And so you don't want to be chasing with that type of FOMO. It's because the FOMO is already getting here. Like the FOMO is already here, to be honest. And so one thing that I'm noticing just in general, if you really look at what we have for Ethereum now, we're going to talk about Ethereum. We talk about Bitcoin a lot. We're going to hone in on Ethereum as it encroaches on $2,800. So we had a comeback candle, is what I call it, in July of 2022. And everybody in the votes that were, in the group back then, like we all tasted that $900 Ethereum. I've got transactions to prove it. And accumulated all through here. But the biggest thing is we had a time period where we hit the Bitcoin bottom, and this had a nice rip and run. But then these candles for Ethereum have been very mundane. And then we have a little momentum from October. But this candle that we have here in February 2024, y'all, this is like the first significant candle that Ethereum has had, truthfully, in a year. And this is a major development because, as I said before, Ethereum is going to be one of the biggest proxies for the rest of crypto. Like all of Total 3 is pretty much reliant on like cheering on Ethereum, because as Ethereum goes, a lot of things in DeFi are going to go. And that's a beautiful thing. Why? Because there's liquidity bonded between the two. And that's another stream that we have to talk about. Hey, how does liquidity bonding affect price? Another thing, have y'all been checking Tether and checking the stable coins? Have they been issuing new stable coins? If so, that's a good thing. Why? Because that's going to eventually trickle into the assets within crypto. So all of these things are a maturation, and the more that you understand, the better that you can do. Really, the more that you understand, the more confidence that you'll have to just go ahead and just buy. Like I think what stop people so much is they, in their head, they're just like, well, this, and I'm not quite sure. And meanwhile, we got this. Yeah, you can not be sure, but you not being sure and just not spending the time to say, hey, let me just shut out everything in my life because this stuff is important, y'all. Like once you realize that crypto is important to you and your financial future, you will take the time. But until then, you're going to treat it as not important. But once you find out that, oh, snap, this is important, you're going to spend the time to say, okay, cool, let me learn about it. Because same thing, even within a year, 80%. Go and show me another asset. Now, maybe NVIDIA, there's some stocks right now that are kind of killing it. But on the net, 99.9% of the time, you're never going to find anything that can do anything like this. And then so once you found like actual real, like a golden opportunity, you got to get on it. And to get on it, that means you have to learn about it until you feel confident enough to say, all right, cool, I'm ready to get on this. And I think that's why people, they hear about this stuff, but they don't want to take action because most people, even probably I'm gonna be honest, like people listening to this stream right now are still not gonna have the confidence to potentially maybe buy Ethereum at $2,800. They're gonna wait for it to get to $5,000. And that's just the nature of the beast, because everybody has a different understanding, they have a different mindset, and different things that get them to say, hey, let me take something serious. I learned from a long time ago, not just from crypto, but from years ago. I don't want to be the person that needed a million signs to be able to just do the right thing. I just want to do the right thing when I realized, all right, you know what? I think this could be the right thing. Let me go ahead and try it out. And you got to go with that gut feeling, y'all. And let the data, not just your feelings, let the data show you. And what does the data show us? That Ethereum is going up more than down. Because if it was going down more than up, then this thing would be looking more like this. If Ethereum was going down more than up, it'd be like this. And then you see it just do this. And then so you want to hold on to things that go up more than down. And for example, the thing that goes just down, I'm guessing y'all can guess what it would be. It's the dollar. Very simple, the dollar. So, and the reason I can show, okay, so the dollar versus Ethereum, like how is the dollar versus Ethereum? Ethereum's going up. I mean, thousands and thousands of X's. We can very much easily see how's the dollar doing versus Ethereum by inverting the chart. So let's go ahead and do that. We'll invert the chart, inverted scale. So this is what the dollar is doing versus Ethereum. The dollar's worth, like, so basically you holding on to those dollars that you love so much. Oh, I need my dollars. I need my savings and my dollars. That's just going to keep devaluating over the years and years. And all this inflation is going to keep killing my dollars. You'd rather hold a whole lot of that instead of even putting like 10% of those, 20%, whatever. And this is what it's doing versus Ethereum. And this is only since 2015. It gets even worse if you go back longer than that. This is what the dollar is doing. Oh, and so that's the percentage for what Ethereum has done. Let me see if I can actually, let me see. Let's do DXY with the ratio of Ethereum, and that's how we're going to find out. So let's see here. Let's see if we can get some good data. DXY, okay, so let's get the DXY up. And this may be able to give us, and this is the first time I'm actually even doing this. So let's see if this test works out. So we'll take the DXY. So this is the dollar versus the other currencies. And then let's see if we can do the ratio versus Ethereum to look at the opportunity cost. This is what ratios do. I did a whole stream on every important ratio. Y'all go check that out if you haven't. It really helps understand some of the stuff. And so it's giving me the chart for Ethereum. Okay, it's very simple. I'll show you guys this. The purchasing power is very simple to look this up. Purchasing power of the dollar over time. And then so that's the biggest gist that we all got to get. Easy Google search. And it gets amplified by 1 million, basically. And this is just the last year. Let's see if we can show max. So just even the last year, I wonder what percentage this is that has gone down, the purchasing power in the last year. This is a good case study. In the last 5 years, from 39 to 32, that sucks. All right, it's not going to give us everything. But if we were to look at this from when the dollar started in 1913, all we're going to see is this go straight down. And I've showed that 1 million times on stream. So basically, you don't want something that has like a 5-year chart, for example. You don't want to have something that has a 5-year chart doing this. You want something that has a 5-year chart that looks, like how we're talking Ethereum here, So just getting down to the bare bones basics. And just reminding, because we always have to remind ourselves, why are we investing in the first place? To preserve capital, to grow capital, to beat the system that is trying to make it hard for us and was meant for us to fail from the get-go through taxation and inflation. So this is literally the thing. You know what? I think I understand now. I know why everything, because I had it on inverted still. So I think the case study, so let's do DXY and let me re-invert it. I think that's what the issue was. So boom. So we got the DXY. Let's go ahead and throw up Ethereum on there and we should be good. Ethereum, boom. Okay, throw that in. And that is inverted, right? Because I see the price going higher, but it's going down. So we got to uninvert. All right. This is the perfect example. Okay. And then we can get a percentage. So we finally got to it, y'all. So this is what your dollar. So like, for example, let's say you got had $1,000 in 2015. And wherever you learned about Ethereum on the chart, that is what it is. But the opportunity cost of that $1,000, is basically, I mean, look at this. Even to like right here, like not even the full thing, you're down 99%. But versus Ethereum, you're down 99.97. That's like you can't get any closer to 100. Like, and it's gonna keep going. Like y'all see what it's doing. And so this opportunity cost is ridiculous. Like people are literally getting exposed to this. Like this thing that kind of, I'm gonna go on my soapbox a little bit. People get exposed to this stuff, and everyone's saying like, "Hey, I'm a pretty, I kind of know some basics of just some numbers here." And still, they still pull up the things of like, "Yeah, but is it safe?" And what happens if like all the what ifs? And it's just like the biggest thing that they need to be asking themselves: what if I do nothing? You're gonna still have that same life, them same struggles. If you do nothing, and then so what do you have to lose? Should be the question. And what I find is, and it's an amazing thing that I heard. There was a guy named Myron Golden. He's an incredible speaker. Y'all should go check him out. But he said there's a fundamental difference between the people that end up doing well financially and the people that don't. And one of the things is their ability to assess risk and not play the what if game. And so essentially what happens is the people that have more to play with, they're willing to risk more because they understand, hey, you gotta take action. You gotta do something to get something out of this. And the people that have the least are always the most skeptical. They're always like, hey, what if this is a scam? What if this? And it's like, what do you have to lose? And to be honest, you don't even realize you've already been scammed because you don't realize that you need to be doing something different. That's the truest statement that I've heard in a long time. And then people wonder why things aren't going well. It's because they're not willing to learn the new things that are going to help them outside of just working. And so I'm all about education. So I know I'm going off on a tangent with that, but like we got to really visualize and see what is happening if you just hold dollars instead of these assets. And we're talking over a span of 9 years, but as we've seen, even over a span of, we're even talking, even if it was just a couple months, right? You were down 85% by just not transferring that money to Ethereum. So, you can do this for every, if you ever want to compare the dollar to whatever, just do a ratio between it. And it'll show you what is better to have, the dollar or the something else. In every single chart, hear me on this, every single chart is going to look like this. Even real estate, even some stocks and stuff like that. Why? Because the dollar is the weakest thing to hold over any time span more than a few months. We just need dollars to just pay our bills and pay whatever, because that's all society is willing to take right now. But things may change. I'm not saying it's going to change in the next 10 or 20 years, but things may change. But it's like, but you don't want to store your value there. You just want to use it. There's a fundamental difference between those two things. And people don't understand that they need to store value as their life goes on. And so that's what I'm here to just preach and let everybody know. Get some assets. Yes, they go up and down, but they go up more than they go down. And typically the right ones go up tens of X's, if not hundreds of X's, if you hold it for 8, 10, 12 years. It's literally that simple. There's literally nothing else. I could end the stream right here. If you took that advice, in 10 years, you'd be very happy. But the question is, sometimes people don't want to wait that long. I am, because I realize, you know what? Sometimes you got to put in the work for a long time to get the reward. And that's just what it takes. So we see Ethereum, doing some decent stuff. So we talked about Ethereum. Let's look at some other things. Let's go over to CoinGecko. And there's some other things rocking and rolling. This is pretty impressive. I'm not going to lie. So something, a coin that I've been talking about for some time here on the channel, Say, man, go ahead and take a look. So up 21% for the day, looking pretty good to rebound. I want to say it's getting close to its all-time high. Let's see. So as of right now, its all-time high was 93 cents. And we're sitting at 91 cents. And I believe I had a statement. I was like, hey, are you going to, would you rather, buy, say, at 70 cents, or are you going to wait for it to get to $1? Well, guess what? Getting close to $1. So something to look into. The circulating supply is just a quarter of the way out. Some token unlocks coming in a few months from now. But same thing when demand is here to soak up all of that new coins that may or may not be sold. It depends on what the people want to do when they get unlocked, right? We've got to see what that demand looks like. And if Bitcoin and Ethereum are pumping, demand for altcoins will be at a premium because the risk reward ratio on them currently will be higher and better. So something, hey, I just, hey, if you didn't get that, then definitely jump into Vaults of Crypto and you'll understand what that means. So cool. Like that's a nice development here. I honestly think this is probably one of the ones that I want to do. Now I've already done the deep dive here, but I think I want to go ahead and display that here on stream for all of us to kind of intake and enjoy. So I'm definitely going to put this one on the list on the poll to see which one is going to go ahead and be the winner. So, but yeah, I mean, we got Solana coming back close to its local peak. It was local peak from a few months ago was 120. We're back at 116. And yeah, we got some other things developing. What else was kind of doing some numbers? We got Stacks, Bonk. Bonk is bonk. The meme coins are gonna keep memeing, and the thing is, once something has a certain amount of exposure to people, Bonk has already kind of solidified that. Hey, this is the meme coin of Solana, and Dog with Hat. So these two coins, like, if I am to get any meme coins, Bonk and Dog with Hat probably will be up there, because there's still a long runway for this bull run. And then so it's just like, do you want to throw 100, $200 and just see how it goes? It may be worth it, and I'm not an advocate for, having a meme coin as a core position. But hey, if you have a nice little bonus or whatever the case is, you worked an extra day or some extra hours, hey, you'd be surprised. One decision could buy you a car from that investment decision. That happened for people with Doge and Shiba and all that good stuff. So, don't discount the memes. Now, another coin that has a lot of use case, right? And I talked about Immutable X before. The reason why Immutable X is going to have, because a lot of things like to pump in waves. Now, Immutable X will be able to pump on multiple waves because it's attached to multiple things. So it's attached to a lot of things within the gaming sector, but also is attached to Ethereum into a certain capacity, because there's a lot of games based upon the Ethereum chain that have to use Immutable X or are currently using Immutable X. So when Ethereum pumps, Immutable X is going to do good. When the GameFi ecosystem pumps, Immutable X is going to do good. So it's just like understanding this is a 2-for-1. Like I see Immutable X as a coin, a 2-for-1 benefit in that term, So, and this has, a little bit more like 60% of supply out, which is nice. And it had a big dump in the bear market, but it has revitalized itself. And same thing, main player, if you have not taken a look at Immutable X. And I'm literally giving the shout outs. Y'all, like the coins that I have done research on, I say it every stream, like, hey, might want to take a look at this. Hey, might want to take a look at that. And it'll be on you to take that action in due time. So, but just today up 11%. Last 7 days up 40%. Not half bad. In last year, almost 200%. So I had 193% for Immutable X. So that's pretty good. What else we got? Anything that looks like it's worth talking about that's kind of pumping up in the last day? Let's check one more time. Let's see. I mean, everything else is within 7 or 8%, and that's typical of an altcoin on a moderate day. So yeah, all this other stuff is just normal stuff. But yeah, we got Ethereum tapping on that $2,800, man. That looks really good. So a couple things. So let's kind of trek over, because I do want to talk about, what does this mean now when Bitcoin is at a period in time where it has low liquidity in the pricing ahead of it. And so one thing that's super important to kind of know is only 125 days, so 2.52% of trading days have closed above $52,000. And as I was mentioning before, another bit of sauce, and I'll say it again. And so understanding is that now the people who are currently holding at 5,200K, they're not these top buyers, right? Who are holding like the Bitcoin all the way. Like majority of these people are already out who bought these tops. So we see these vertical yellow lines. So these people are out. Like they capitulated all through right here. And then so that got transitioned to long-term holders, and the long-term holders are going to keep holding, and typically they don't distribute till we get to all-time high. So what does that mean? Low liquidity, and the people who are holding this are not selling. So that means it makes it a lot easier for us to get to all-time high. And then once we get to all-time high, then we'll kind of discuss and say, okay, now what are the dynamics? But those are the dynamics of how this is going to play out between 52K and 69K. So there you have it. If nobody's told you, voila, that is the secret. This is how the market is going to work, whether you like it or not, whether I like it or not. Liquidations are happening. Like there was like $76 million of shorts liquidated. So that's why we pumped up, but then also the inflows from GBTC, or not. So not the inflows from only GBTC. They're selling less, but we have inflows from IBIT, so Fidelity, and also BlackRock, and some of these other ETFs as well. So things to know. Let's go ahead and look at Gary Gensler. So this is a little 3-minute clip. Mr. Gary, this guy is once again one of the characters that we have to watch. Let's see him talk about Bitcoin and how he's going to basically argue. Like he's going to argue, with this person here on the news. And I mean, this is honestly funny in my opinion. So let's check it out.
By regulation.
Is that the problem, though? It's not necessarily Bitcoin, the underlying asset, but more the froth and the potential for fraudsters to use it that has been
This is a
concern?
field, Becky, that's been rife with fraud and manipulation. And look at all the bankruptcies.
You guys are frauds.
You've had on this set people talking about those various bankruptcies. And it's not just one entity. It's entity after entity after entity. And then investors are just lining up in the bankruptcy court.
What do you make of this? Goes to the underlying piece of this. You've heard.
Hold on, but so here's the thing. He's talking about how people end up in the bankruptcy court because they're dealing with entities, not dealing with Bitcoin. They're dealing with entities. Key description to understand.
Jamie Dimon say that he would close it down. That basically Bitcoin
I've
you've
heard
seen the
him say
comments,
that.
right? It's not just that he closed it down. That he would say it's used by drug dealers and used by folks who are doing all sorts of illicit and terrible things. There's very few things that trade today that people talk about like that. Now, there are obviously frauds and things that happen, but maybe not like this.
Like the dollar is like 100 times more.
Well, I know that's your perspective, but I'm just I'm curious how you think about that.
That's true, though. This is how much has been money laundered with Bitcoin. This is how much. This is Bitcoin. This is dollar.
Yes, Joe. But look, here's the Jamie Dimon quote: "The only true."
Yo, he's hitting them with some facts. He's like, there's only been this much amount that's been laundered with Bitcoin, and like this much amount that's been laundered with the dollar. So which one is really more dangerous? I mean, you can't argue with that.
Use case for it is for criminals, drug traffickers, money laundering, and tax avoidance. I know, but we have a guest.
That's his opinion.
We have a guest, Joe. What is your opinion? And what is your opinion that we have something trading on the exchange for the public that has this type of use case, at least as described by the president of one of the largest financial institutions in the company?
It's the leading market share in ransomware, and that's publicly known.
Right.
It's the token of choice for ransomware. Joe, if I can say, the U.S. dollar, the euro, the yen, you have the whole society using it as a medium of exchange. We buy our cups of coffee, as I see here. Right. We get paid in dollars or yen or euro. And you have a whole central bank and support for one currency generally per economic region. That we don't have here. So there is a very real economic difference.
Which is part of the attraction, since it's decentralized, and you can't have a profligate central bank.
It's not that decentralized, Joe.
Well, I know you're saying because of the ETFs, but really it is.
No, it's
for
not
DeFi
that decentralized
and everything.
because look how finance tends towards centralization since antiquity.
Right.
So what do we have? We have a handful of 3 to 6 core so-called crypto
I understand,
exchanges.
but the asset itself, the way that
That's how the
distributed
accounting
ledger, right? That's how the ledger. And
now, how many times do you have people on this show that say, "I want to invest in something because how the books and records are kept"? I mean, Joe, really? It's just an accounting ledger, a clever.
It's a ledger that everyone has.
Yo, he's gonna downplay that. That is a huge deal because banks fraud people every day. like Bank of America has paid millions and hundreds of millions in fines, charging people too much, fining them and simply overcharging for fees. And yeah, nobody cares about it. And so he's trying to say, like, oh man, like having a transparent ledger is not important. Like, wow. And this is the chairman of the SEC. This is ridiculous, man. Truthfully.
Everyone has and can't be double counted. It's almost immutable. That's why people think it has inherent value.
So you trust it more than an Oracle database, or you trust it more
trust it more than a lot of the Bitcoin bulls say they trust it a lot more than the central bank that enables the fiscal authorities to spend money to the tune of $33 trillion.
That's everybody's investment choice, but.
There's nothing that he said on there that refutes what they're saying. He never really answered his question. It's just these people are jokes, man. And these are the people that have been in charge of making major decisions for us. And as you can see, like, I'm sorry, but he's not even really that competent. Like, if you're I understand you can't say certain things, but at least try to defend your point. But then again, how can you defend a point if you don't have one? So, yo, that's crazy. What else we got? So now talking about these ETFs, let's look at the growth rate. And so there has been, and this is updated as of today, y'all. So there has been more than 12,000 Bitcoin that has been added to the collective ETFs. And so, these are the ETFs excluding GBTC. And as you can see, they were selling quite a bit. Now that selling went down significantly. I want to say they've only sold, I think today was like 90 million or less. And so while these other players are accumulating hundreds of millions per day. And so that's a big thing to kind of realize, especially as we go into the halving, because, simply the stat, I believe it is that the amount that they're buying is 12 times higher than what the actual issuance is per day. So there's only 900 Bitcoin that can be basically mined per day. That's going to go to 450. And so then that number is going to go to 24 times. If we have the same amount of inflows being, give or take, $400, $500 million a day, that's a lot. And then so net, with the price being at 51,750, this is, as you can see, how tightly correlated price has been with the inflows from all these ETFs. So this is something to kind of keep in the back of your minds as we continue on. Now, kind of coming here, as of earlier today on this Valentine's Day, all those shorts ain't feeling so good. Short in the market, liquidations, 76 million bucks. So that's even more just pressure to the upside. People doing the dumb thing, man. Leverage is going to be the death of many people, man, because they just think that they can predict the market. But as you can see, since everything goes up versus dollars, why would you ever short? It literally makes no sense. So, yeah, sucks to suck for them. Just joking. But yeah, let's see if we can get a little bit more detail on that. So let's jump out of the ad. All right. Let's see here. So y'all got to embrace it. Embrace the bull run. Soak it in, right? It feels great. And this is, what a lot of us have been here for. So it kind of talks about how there's been 11 spot BTF or BTC ETFs, and all that is fine and dandy. Let's see, and yeah, that's very important to really understand that now we have basically surpassed $2 trillion in market cap, and that's 2/3 of the way to where we were in the top of the bull run last cycle. Estimates kind of show that we will end up on a moderate side. Probably be about, just about 4.5 trillion to, it depends on how bullish we are. We could get up to 9 or 10 trillion, y'all. And then, so like I said, we're catching steam, and, and these are the things that we want to pay attention to. Let's see if we can get a little bit more detail on those liquidations. So a nice, easy Google, right? If you guys are like, how do I look at information? Google is a great resource. So BTC liquidations, and it should bring up CoinGlass. Liquidations. All right. So let's use the Google. Let's jump on over to CoinGlass. How'd I know? First thing up. So CoinGlass. All right. Let's see here. I think we're connected. One second. Let me jump out. Let me jump out of this. Do some adjustments here in the back while this pops up. And let me do a break. Let's answer some questions. Let's see. Who we got? All right. 100%. 100%. All right, so I think we're good in the back. Let me go ahead and pop that back up. So with the statement was essentially. So what the statement was is as follows: like, what a different feeling from the last 2 years in crypto. And this is why this is such a human experience, because we feel that when things go opposite of what we would like, and then we feel the exact opposite when things are going the way that we want to. And then so this is like we're just getting started, and as prices go higher, we got to temper our expectations and temper our emotions, because like fighting the FOMO is the mindset that we got to be in right now. Like, and on relative pullbacks, okay, cool, you want to add some more, for sure. Or if you're like still trying to accumulate what you feel like you need for this bull run, okay, sure, keep buying, do what you got to do. For myself and maybe people that have been like heavily buying over the past 2 years, you might be like, hey, like my bags are like packed, and if I see some little opportunities here and there, I'm gonna go ahead and drop something off and partake. So everybody's a little bit different, but it's just like the feeling, man, is the feeling only gets better as the green candles get printed. So yeah, I got a little smile on my face today, as y'all can tell. A little juice today for sure. What else we got? Number go up, it will never come down. That statement right there. Nah, never. Well, maybe not hit a certain price anymore, but what goes up must come down. That's the law of gravity. Yes, sir. Large in charge. What's good? Made it. And yeah, IMX is pumping. Like, IMX is something that same thing accumulated pretty nicely during the sideways chop, and it still hasn't left the tarmac, but it's about to. It really is. So for sure. I know. Yeah. No, this is 100% true. Gary thinks people are stupid. Like, because nobody ever, like, here's the thing about these people. So Janet Yellen, Gary Gensler, Jerome Powell, when they ever really do get asked a question, it is scripted. So it's going to be scripted, and they already know they're going to get asked it. So when they get asked questions that maybe aren't so scripted, they're like, oh, snap. Like, what am I going to say about this? It's because simply they do not have an answer. They don't. So they're going to try to throw shade at whatever they can, because they have these same talking points, and say, hey, I hope people are dumb enough to realize I don't have an answer, but I'm going to say this, and they'll be so fearful, so they'll lean on that fear and then just listen to what I'm saying. And people are getting smarter and smarter. Like, that stuff don't work no more. Like, it does for some people, but on the net, most people are starting to learn that ain't it. So yeah, Gary, man, his time is limited. So yeah, there were some liquidations here across the board. Really, XRP, BTC, a lot of stuff being liquidated on the short side. So with that being said, let me see if we can get a little bit more information on exactly how much was shorted and how much got liquidated, even like the past few hours. So let's see here. And so even, this is a whole nother thing. I may have to do a stream on the ratio between essentially how people are treating the leverage within the system. And so knowing these ratios can be helpful to anticipate how retail, or not even just, but even institutional people, how they are placing their bets for 30-day and 60-day time periods, essentially. But yeah, there's some new longs that are in, so more people are starting to hit that long button in the last 15 minutes. In the last 5 minutes, some people are starting to hit that short button for Ethereum. Interesting. Okay. And so the last 24 hours, liquidation nation. And so we got it right here. I mean, if y'all can kind of see, shorts, about $88 million liquidated. Ouch. And about $40 million in Ethereum shorts gone. And so we got that verified here on CoinGlass. So rough day for the shorts, man. What can I say? It's just, that is what it is. Don't play with leverage if you don't get it. And so this is the total liquidations. And so I really like looking at this because it lets us know the bias of where the market is leaning. And one thing that y'all will start to learn is after enough people get hit so many times by the shorts, they turn into longs at some point. And then so we have double the amount of people longing as well. And that's a lot easier to do when we have a positive funding rate for these these leverage type situations for these guys. And then so how do you get a positive funding rate? Well, when interest rates go down, that is going to be able to tip that ratio in your favor a little bit. And so interest rates go down, at some point that may be an amplifier for people to get cheaper leverage, which allows more people to be willing to go long. And when they are more willing to go long, they'll do it. And when people do it, that means and the key thing is the long-term holders are holding this price at 50K, 52K. And so like we haven't had those crazy capitulations of 30%. This is very much reminiscent of the 2015, 2018 cycle, but just less volatile. So what was frequent was those visits to those 30% drawdowns, and there was several, like 6 or 7 of them. This time around, we're only getting 20% drawdowns, but in the same way, we're not going up as high percentage wise. So a lot of things going on. What else we got? Some people going long. So about 10,000 bucks going long in the past hour. Let's see. Yeah, so and because you want to look at this even on the 4 hourly and the hourly, like, hey, what are we doing like in real time, in real term? I say that all the time, in real time, in real terms. So on price, I don't really like to zoom in that much. Like, okay, where's price in the last like 30 minutes? But on what are people doing on the leverage side? Oh, if we can look at that to the minute, I want to see that. So, because what I'm seeing is people are still going short. Like there's basically 20 times more shorts currently on some of these exchanges going to the short in the last hour than going to longs. So one thing that I'm going to know how we're in full-fledged bull is when price is going up and then you see more longs than shorts still. That's how you know. Here's a caveat. Here's a gem for y'all. That's how you know that we're in the thick of the bull. So this lets you know there's still a lot of skepticism here. Okay, cool. We're not in those major green candles yet because more people are still betting to the short side. And most likely, they'll go ahead and get liquidated. And so, more people being liquidated over the past hour. Yo, man, these people are just offsides. So this is just what it is. It's what it is. And that's for Bitcoin. You can go through all your top coins here, all top 20. So interesting to see. Yeah. Yeah, yesterday sucked for the shorts too. Yikes. And so we're looking at, in particular, Binance. People are getting wrecked on the shorts and OKX. Yeah, that's pretty rough. So $141 million in shorts liquidated. And then so that's just more buy pressure because the short turns to a buy. Man, yeah, that sucks, dude. That really sucks. And so we're seeing some of the biggest liquidations for BTC on the short side in a long time, since really January. So from about a month ago, we had some shorts of this stature, but we also had longs that were getting liquidated too. This time is literally like all shorts and hardly no longs being liquidated. So very interesting thing to take a look at. Very, very interesting. So yeah, definitely, like I know I'm throwing a lot of terms out here. We're talking about some more in-depth aspects of the market structure and why things are doing what they're doing. But come and get some of this sauce, y'all. Come and enter the votes right here, and trust me, like there's 100% chance that you're gonna learn something that you didn't know, and that's the key to success. Like truthfully, you got to do something different. That means learn something different to be able to get different results. It's really that simple. And I'm trying to wait for Ethereum to pump back up to $2,800 on stream. Will we get it? We'll find out. We'll find out. Let's see if we can look at some post-chain charts while we're at it here on VolsterCrypto.com. And let's see what we got. So Pulse up 7%. Okay, not bad. Not bad at all. Crazy. Only out 8 months and 30 days. Like, that's not that long. Not long at all. So much runway. So many years to go. I literally cannot wait. Like, so things are looking pretty good. So, I mean, if you're to look at it, we had and I'll try to make it easy for us to dive into. We had the winter time for Pulse. So that's the winter. Boom. We had spring accumulation. Boom. And now we're getting into summer. And we'll see how long summer lasts. Typically summer is a long process in crypto. And so if we were to put this like on like the weekly chart, like we can really see holistically that. And same thing for Pulse. Think about it. So something that's been out for 8 months, it's only had 2 weeks where price was higher than the current price. So same thing like how we're talking for Bitcoin. There's many people who had bought at this price that are not still holding. They capitulated down. That's why we have these candles here. The people that are holding, and so this is why the structure looks like what it is, because people accumulated enough, and then now people are coming back. And so you're going to see less volatility to the downside because of the position change of who's holding the coins. That is the most important thing. And then so same thing, just like how we had and this candle right here was the most exciting candle that we've had in a while for Pulse, and especially in 2024. But we're going to see more upside than downside simply just because of the mechanics of who's holding what. That's the simple key. Now you might have some people that are saying, "Hey, I'm gonna get back up to sack price," and we're already above sack price. But there's gonna be some people that are gonna be like, "Hey, we're gonna get back up to this range here, and we're gonna dump it." We might face a little bit of resistance, but where it gets really exciting is when we eat that up. You start to see the volume stay steady, and you say, okay, well, what are the next levels of what we can do? So, let's go ahead and put on a Fibonacci retracement and invert it. And we'll look at the conservative estimate. So we won't even put that on log scale. We'll put this on just regular. Let me see here. I think it already is on regular. Huh. So, just simple estimates of where we're going. Pulse Chain is going to find itself here. And this is within crypto summer. We're not even in the autumn yet. Within crypto summer, which is, let's just call it the rest of 2024. So we're talking 10 months. So the opportunity cost of waiting 10 months, we're going to find it, somewhere going along this track, busting up through these levels. So as you can see, we're going to grind up. We have some resistance right here at the 382, and we're encroaching on the 50% retracement. Once we get past this golden ratio, which is right here at 3 zeros and 1 8, all bets are off, and this thing is going, y'all. It's very easy because, like I said, there's low liquidity here, so it's going to be very easy for us to get back up to 3 zeros and a 2. And once we get to 3 zeros and a 2, it's price discovery. Like I said, all bets are off. It makes it very easy to start going up these levels. And so, the opportunity cost right now is like saying, hey, and this is like very, very conservative. Hey, I got a double in my eyes for something that's only been out 8.5 months. And like I'm saying, the people who are holding the price currently, these are people who are able to buy at a lower price valuation. And so they're a net profit, knowing that we've got a long bull market ahead of us. So are they going to sell, or are they going to, most of them are going to hold on. That's just the dynamics. And then so it makes it easier for us to go up to these levels. And so, saying the same thing that I've been saying this whole stream, y'all. How long is it going to take you to just go ahead and embrace the bull and ride this thing? Go ahead and ride it, so that's Pulse. And go ahead and look at some of these transactions. Find out who the whales are. And we got Pulse X looking nice and frosty. I love Pulse X. That buy and burn is nice. Forced buyer. And so let me see here. Oh, yeah, we're on log. Beautiful. So Pulse X doing pretty dang good. It's trying to, because here's the thing, making lower lows, lower low, lower low. And so as you can see, there's an indecision period of time right here. And then so what we really want to see is us to be able to break. Let me see if I can pull this down. So what we really want to be able to see, and I got this on the big chart. So we want to see us kind of break this area here. So let me zoom in. That way we can see that a little bit better. So, and here's the thing. Go ahead and look at that volume. Like that volume is definitely popping up. Now we got some large players jockeying for position. And as you can see, there's a big sell day, or a moment of selling earlier today. But as you can see, this is how you know there's people that are more bullish than bearish, because when you start to see these wicks, so you start to see things getting sold off, and you're like, oh snap. You start to see these wicks protecting price, people are coming to play. And then so you see this basically eat back up and almost gap back up to, almost to where this wick is. And so what we want to see is a nice close. And this is like a 4-hour chart. We want to see a daily close, first of all, above this level. So what's that, 3 zeros and a 6? We want to see a daily close above it. And what gives us credence to be able to, all right, cool, let's go ahead and take out these wicks right here. So we're talking 3067, a nice weekly close, and that becomes very realistic. So we go ahead and take out that wick there. And then so here's the key. Once we take out these wicks and these wicks on the upside, then we must ask ourselves, and let's see if we can look at this on the daily. Same thing. How many people are positioned where? And then so if we were to look at this, right, and we draw a line straight across, same thing remains. This is a daily chart. There's only a few weeks where people even had any type of interaction with this coin at these price levels. And all these people, most of them are gone. There's still some people that are here that could dump. But why I think that Pulse and Pulse X have a really good chance to do things that people are just not ready for. One, it's a layer 1 that actually works, 100% uptime. The DEX works perfectly. But then 2 is just who is holding these coins too. Understand about the Hex community. These people are like the only people that I know or have ever seen that's like, you know what, I'll delay my gratification 5 years, 10 years, 15 years. A lot of these people in the Hex ecosystem are holding this coin. And so, I mean, there's more people in the ecosystem doing that than other ecosystems. So I give that a positive nod to say, okay, cool. That's a major pump for mental, because people that just understand what it takes to get what they want. And they know that they just can't sell after a 5X or like a little pump. Like, what do we have? We went from very mundane price to like a 3X, whatever the case is, 350%. The hexagon that has been in the ecosystem for more than 2 or 3 years understands that, hey, 3X ain't nothing. A lot of them have gone 100X, 200X, right? And then so they're comparing this, say, hey, if I ain't getting my 200X or 100X out of this, then I'm gonna just wait till I get it. And so, a lot of people don't have that sentiment or that experience because they've been in other ecosystems that didn't get such numbers, so many X's. And then so, like I said, like, understand who's holding the coin. That's a big thing to know. And so, what is PHEX looking at? So with PHEX, we have 30 million in liquidity between PHEX and Pulse, and we're sitting, right below 2 cents. And we went up to it, we wicked it, but then we came back down. And then so same thing. This is a flag. This is, if you have and this is just a standard flag. If you have a flag, go ahead and flag it on up, right? And you're seeing us maintain price. Now, ideally, you'd want to participate at the lower points of the other flag. But same thing, we're knocking on the door, knocking on the door, knocking on the door. If we go ahead and break this resistance, then it gives us credence to go ahead. And this is like simple structure to, you take the largest part of this. So for example, this is just soft TA, just not exacts. And so that gives us credence to make that next up move here, if we go ahead and break that, which puts us at, 2.5 cents. So in a relative time period, what is this, the 4-hour chart? So daily chart in a relative time period, as you can see, it only takes to do a move like that, it only takes maybe 3 solid days, 4 solid days. But even if it takes 2 weeks, if Bitcoin is continuing to trek up, like I said, if Bitcoin is in low liquidity range, like you better be trying to grab these alts, man, because like these major moves of the alts are, we can see that 30-some% within a few days. And so you got to ask yourself, like, I just became 30% wealthier like in a week. Like that's the crazy stuff that can happen in crypto. Like think about it. It takes people years, like 2 years in the stock market to be like, oh, okay, on a net basis, my positions are up 30%. And to do a double on average, it takes 7. So 30% in a week or even a double in a month, like, come on, like understand the difference. Two different type of movements because the assets are differently, I would say, structured, per se. And so that's just what it is. So we got some nice developments for PLS, PLSX, and PHEX. So looking pretty good. Definitely, buy opportunity, because the reason why I buy opportunity for PulseX. So for example, PulseX, even as long as PulseX is below its SAC price, it's a buy opportunity. So like this is like the one coin where I'm just like literally buy to your heart's content until we get here. Then things change a little bit, And so we still got some runway. We may have a week, we may have a month, we may have 3 months, I don't know. But understand, you don't have all year to decide on if you want to go ahead and get something that can go exponential for you. So yeah, there's that. So yeah, a lot of good stuff. Definitely feeling the hype, feeling the pump. And yeah, we're gonna see things continue to develop, and things are looking pretty good. So what else we got? Let's check the chat. There's one more article I do want to look at. Let's see here. Yeah. So what are your thoughts on ERC 404 narrative, Gophers on ETH, and Pulse doing well out of the gate? Yeah, we're gonna see how viable that is, being able to sell an NFT on the marketplace or like on a DEX, like how you would sell something else. I think anything in this first month or so is gonna catch some attention, but it's worth a scratcher ticket for sure. Now, if you want to make this a main part of your portfolio, I think we do need a little bit more time to see how people interact with it. But if we see the continual rapid growth of people actually using it for the use case of what they're saying it is as a narrative, then yeah, I think it's something that's viable. So I would say in another 2 weeks to a month's time, we'll really start to see that play out a little bit more. So I think that could be an opportunity for sure. I'm probably way too heavy in the Pulse ecosystem, but if it hits, oh boy. And that's the thing. If you know what you got, you know what? Hey, that's the allocation that works for you. What's your price on Sui and Osmosis? Good question. Let's take a look real quick. Sui. So let's see if we can pull that up. See if we can actually get the full chart. On Osmosis, I accumulated some of that last cycle, but I definitely DCA'd lower on that. Let's see. Do we have Sui? Let's see. Now the question is this the full price chart? Let's put this on the weekly chart. What is the? Let's see. Okay. So let me look at it and see if this is the full chart. So we got so it's at $1.90. How far does this go back? So May of 2023, it was an all-time high. Previously, all-time low was October. So we at least want to go back to May of 2023. So let's see. Is that what it's showing us? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So May 2023. Yeah, and it dipped off. Got it. So, this chain here, let's just look at it from a TA standpoint. So we've already eclipsed that wick, and so that's been eaten up, and it's been having a nice month. So 4 weekly candles in a row. That looks pretty good. Let's see what kind of buy signals did we get. Let's put this on the 3-day. What kind of buy signals did we get using the Hatter? So, and this coin is super young. Let me see if with the daily. Yeah, we got some on the daily. So, using the Hatter, right? If you're using this on this coin, for example, you would have been able to grab some at 48 cents. You got another buy opportunity at 47, 43, and then right before it takes off, you would have got another opportunity about like 40 cents, give or take. So, this thing's going. What I would say is I think it could use a little bit more network activity to justify the price. But a lot of times, in crypto, what the network does always isn't going to correspond to what price is doing. So it would be nice to be able to catch this on a dip. Let's see if we can look at this and pull up the 50-day moving average. The Bollinger Bands is pushing up continuously. There was a little opportunity here where we didn't come down to the 100-day moving average, but we came to the 20-day average right here. So this is the 20-day in the middle of the Bollinger Band. So it did do that. And I don't have this. I don't have an allocation for this. What has it done since the low? So it has done, pretty moderately. I mean, not moderately. I mean, the 4X since October is great, believe it or not. Other things like IMX and stuff like that have done something similar. Let's see. Let me see if I can pull up the 50-day moving average and just see how expanded above that is it. Let's see here. So let's go. No, I don't want indicators. Let's just do moving average. So let's see, where's the 50-day in relevance to its price chart? So 50-day. And that's the thing about a bull run. Like you may not get like that super dip like that you would ideally want if you are catching something that's pumping, because as you can see on Extreme Greed, it's just been up. It's been above 80 since really November. And so a couple criteria of what I like is, at least in a bull run, I at least want to try to get something that's interacting with the 50-day. So this was interacting with the 50-day moving average here. So it's interacting back in December, loosely here in January, and as you can see, we're expanded above it. And then so for me, I definitely, and as the 50-day moving average is trekking up, same day with the 100-day, I want to see this come down to the 50 average at least. But it's definitely not even at the 20-day moving average, as we can see. Like, it's not even at the 20-day moving average. And so, it may be something that's like, hey, if I really wanted this, I'd take my first little dip, just no matter where price is at, just let me grab some. And from there, maybe be a little bit more strategic from a standpoint of saying, okay, boom, because it's in price discovery, y'all. Like, so once things get in price discovery, you don't know, it can go anywhere. But yeah, like a spot that would be nice if Bitcoin decides to chill out, which there's no telling of that. It would be nice to at least grab it of somewhat of a better value compared to today. Somewhere within this range, maybe heading into early March, if that were to be the case, if Bitcoin does not, or if Bitcoin slows down. And then so that may be an entry point potentially. We're talking something like $1.27 or $1.30. And if Bitcoin decides to say, like, we're going to turn this thing around, then yeah, like a typical pullback, you're going to see potentially this coming to $1. And that's probably going to be around that 25% pullback, maybe even 30. So like 25% or 30% getting back to this 2.36. And for us to get to 382, that's almost a 50% pullback. And, for something that's in its first cycle, 50% pullbacks, yeah, they'll happen. Just how we, like, for example, the biggest pullback that I see is from this wick, that wick, and now it's 30%. And so, if Bitcoin would have to go to the low 40s for us to see this coin go back to $1. And so you have to ask yourself, what's the probability of Bitcoin going back to the 40s with this type of regime that we're in with the ETFs? And so basically, until I see the inflows of the ETFs slow down, I'm not thinking that's going to happen within the next couple of days, basically. And so Yeah, I would say this was more likely going to be going up than down over the next few days to a week. But yeah, this price movement is very nice. It's very steady. I'm not seeing anything of indecision too much. It's just a steady growth, which is nice to see on the price chart. And so let's look at osmosis. So Osmo, as y'all can see, I already got that one. I should have a bookmark somewhere. So yeah, I got it bookmarked right here. Boom. And so yeah, like I'm a holder of osmosis, y'all. And so we want to look at this thing. Let's look at this on the weekly. What does it look like on the weekly? Stalling out. But I like when we have accumulation ranges off of something that has some adoption and has some punch, especially off of coming off the lows. It wasn't like a slow trickle up. It had some punch off the low. And so, but one thing that I'm definitely seeing when things get really exciting, people like to sell those off. Like this structure looks different. See these wicks considerably on these green candles? People are treating this coin differently than, for example, Bitcoin or Ethereum, or even compared to Sui. I'm noticing that's just a small anecdote there. But if we were to look on this and see, what is this looking like? Let's take off that for now. And this thing has had a very, very long accumulation range. I'm talking from May of 2022 to October. Now, another thing that I was able to code up that is super helpful for me and like what really helped me to confirm like these DCFs are going to hit hard is I created this 52-week high-low metric. So what does this do? It takes the asset and over the span of 52 weeks, it's going to show when it's printing its lowest price. So for example, when we got to this level here in May of 2023, I'm like, oh, this is the lowest price that we've been in a whole year. The bear market is pretty done. We're still in accumulation. This was like the premier DCA into Osmo, which, same thing I was doing. And so, we had plenty of buy signals for Osmo. And the thing is, you're going to see these red vertical lines from May of 2023. So this lets you know how good of a value something is. If it stays showing these red lines, it's letting us know it's continuing to make these lows. Now, the question is, you got to have the conviction, because if you're like, hey, I don't really know too much about the ecosystem, I understand the DEX works. So I was like, I have no problem DCA into this as it goes lower. And we're past the bear market for Bitcoin and Ethereum. So this is I always talk about the ratio of when an altcoin is on a nice value. It is when Bitcoin is going up, but the altcoin is not. And then so that's like that opportunity, that cost basis that you have the opportunity to grab is only a small period of time. And honestly, for Osmo, really, it was from May to October. And that opportunity probably not going to happen again. And so, for example, that opportunity looked like, buying 63-cent Osmo down to 21-cent Osmo. And so off the low, what has it done? It has eclipsed So it's basically eclipsed the 50-day moving average, and it's still interacting with it, and it's eclipsed the 100-day moving average. So I would, be a little bit more bullish, grabbing something that's just not straight pumping like Osmo versus Sui currently. And then from the low, same thing. It's done some incredible numbers off the low, almost a 10 or basically a 10x, 900% gain. And so like the average from this window here from May of 2023 to October. So let's say, for example, the average, you probably was able to lock in anything from 63 to 33. So let's call, the average, I don't know, $45. So the average, person that has interacted with Osmo is still sitting currently at a 250% gain on their position. Now they'll probably defend that to a certain standpoint. Especially once we get back, if we ever do have a dip lower, they're gonna try to defend their cost basis. Let me see if I can pull up some of this information here. So let's get that whole accumulation window here, and we can see a couple things. And so I'll kind of outline, what this means. So we'll take that off. We'll take off the 50-day moving average. All right. So what I have here, and this is super, super helpful, is this is the specific volume range profile. So I took a specific time, which was this accumulation period of what we're talking about, from, let's call it January 2023, so the bottom for Bitcoin to, today's time. And we see the interaction that people have had with this coin. Now, what did we see? We seen, and it's so crazy. Like, now I did it by eye, but same thing. The most people interacted right there in that 45 to 50 cent range. And as we can see, we have the most amount of volume or coins trading hands at this level. Now, moving up into the liquidity, you have prices where they had a little bit more voluntary involvement with the coin at 79 cents, so 80 cent. And then, it's really not that much volume of where we currently are. So what's nice to see is, since there's not much, I guess you can say, interaction with the coin where we currently are, but it's still holding price, that's still very bullish, because we didn't just go straight back down to this batch of liquidity at $1.13 to 76 cents. But then the next question you have to ask yourself is like, hey, where did the most people interact? Because where people interacted with the coin, that's where they'll defend and say, oh, it came back down to my cost base, I'll buy more. And then, so for example, definitely, like, this is going to be hard for us to hit 50 cents again if Bitcoin continues to do what it's doing. But then again, this will have somewhat of a support, especially here at that 85 to 75 cent range. And then, so, we'll see if this continues to hold, because the glass is thin below it. Because if it breaks that glass, then yeah, we'll definitely find ourselves at $1 and somewhere between like 80 cents to $1, And, that's kind of how you got to look at this. But same thing, the people who are holding this coin has transferred from the people who have, held it up here, capitulated, into stronger hands down here. And so, this is a good sign. This is a nice sideways range. I'd probably take a stab at it right now. Because same thing, this is kind of drawn a little bit closer to a pennant. So this thing is getting smaller and smaller, and whatever side that it breaks to, there's going to be a nice move. And ideally, you're seeing that it's going to go ahead and collect here, and it's going to choose a side. And then, so ideally, if you're a person in this coin, you ideally want to go to the upside. So, that's some quick little TA for Osmo. I like the ecosystem. I like, the value proposition of what it has, and it's doing numbers so far. And then, so, same thing. This is something that I would say nice opportunity, because for really, like, above, like where we're at this now, above this price is price discovery. Because same thing, when this thing came out, it came out at the very, very top of the bull. And then, so there's not too many people who have experience holding this coin up until this accumulation range. And then, so, like, really, in my eyes, I consider anything above $1.65 to be price discovery. And as you can see, even just for it to get back to this lump of liquidity here, which I'm telling you, none of the people that bought here actually still hold it, like they've all capitulated. And then, so this new range, like, that's a 4x from where we are today. And then, so, as Bitcoin goes to 55K, 60, 65, this is when all the alts start to really catch up in percentage gain. And so, like, same thing, the people who were able to capture that extreme value, this is when they start to, like, that's all it takes, y'all, man. Like, 20x, 15x, 10x in crypto can be very standard if you just know the game. And so, just legitimately, we're not even getting the low. Just these batch of people who had tools. So, for example, they might have been the vault of crypto and had this use case of being able to look at the 52-week high and low. So the DCA is here. Just from the average person there, getting back to the all-time highs, you're locking in a 20x on something that's kind of really in its first cycle. So this is the game. Learning to look at these things in this way can help. Now, let's say, you weren't that person. Maybe you're just freshly looking at this for the first time today. Yeah, cool. You might still be able to lock in that 500% gain. So, and then, real price discovery from there once we go past that. So, the both of those coins are looking pretty good. I would say the better value proposition may be Osmo currently. So, a little deep dive in on that. Cool. So, that's all I got for y'all today. Let's see. Do we have any other comments before we jet out? Let's see. What's up with the blast chart? Any thoughts? I'm gonna have to go ahead and grab that on another stream. But because the biggest thing is, I want people to get comfortable as well. I know I could do TL on every single coin, but hear kind of what I'm saying, y'all, and saying how I'm evaluating this, talking about positioning, stuff like that, and try it for yourself, and you'll start to see that, oh, okay, cool, I can actually get a little bit more analysis. I take kind of what Swerve says on the stream, apply it, and go look at the chart. I kind of want to hear from you what you think about that, and then maybe we could politic and talk about it a little bit more in depth. For sure, Wade, of course, always trying to present that value. So appreciate y'all once again for coming through. This has been a nice stream, cutting it right here at about an hour 25. But yeah, embrace the bull, because guess what? It's going to happen whether you're shorter or you're on the sidelines, or if you're buying. Things are going to develop, because that's just the way the cycle goes. So until next time, I may be able to get on the stream on Friday. If you're trying to be on the lookout for the streams, definitely click the bell icon at the top of the page. Subscribe if you haven't, and yeah, check out the Vault Crypto, y'all. Like everybody in there is pretty happy, but that's because we're doing a lot of detailed work, making sure we're getting the right things looked at and action being taken consistently. So that's all I got for y'all. Once again, I appreciate y'all's time. Peace.